Hey. Ahoy, ahoy, everybody. Welcome back. Outside the Cinema, your weekly source for cult movie discussions. We're your hosts. I'm Bill, and that's Chris.
Yep.
And we are back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a good show this week. I don't understand why. I'm pretty tired this morning. So I'm having a hard time getting going. Yeah. Even though I've already been to the dentist. So, yeah. I had a cleaning this morning, and then Travis is getting some fillings this afternoon. And I feel like I spend all my time in different assorted doctor's offices. Like between like my personal shit, Travis has got ortho appointments, he's got dentist appointments. Yeah. Mel's got all her different appointments for her donation that she's doing. And like I feel like that's all I do now is like deal. But we're all healthy for the most part now, so I guess that's probably the best part of it, right?
Yeah, it's because you're going to the doctor and dentist.
As opposed to the hospital. Yeah. Which I spent more than enough time in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, one day is too many. Let alone 21 or whatever, 20. Well, it would have been 16 on my initial stay, 3 on my second, and then 4 or 5 on my other one. So, yeah, a lot of time in the hospital.
Yeah.
All right, this week on the show. I'm sorry, what?
Not great. Not great.
No. Could be worse, but not great.
Yeah.
This week on the show, Patreon picks from David. 2 films from David Toohey. And we were trying to figure out if that's the right way to say it. We weren't sure. We're going with Toohey. David Toohey.
Yeah.
From David S. The decisions. Last time did I read this last week?
I
might have read his email last week. I'm going to read it again.
Okay.
All right. David says, the decisions. Last time I subjected you to skullduggery and hopefully treated you to The Last Movie Star for a Burt double feature.
Right.
I did really enjoy The Last Movie Star.
It was good, but I didn't have a good time watching.
Gave you the feels.
The fears, more like.
The feel of the fears.
It was an existential thing that went on.
It was very good, though. Maybe Burt's best performance.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
So this time he's giving us a double feature of David Toohey. And he expressly says, no Riddick. Which is fine, because, I mean, I actually really enjoyed Pitch Black when I first saw it.
Yeah, I don't mind the Riddick ones. I know that they are basically bubblegum, cheese-flavored bubblegum, and that's fine.
I don't even know if I ever saw Chronicles of Riddick. I know that I saw Pitch Black. Is there a third one, or is it just the 2?
Yeah, there's one called Riddick, right?
That's why I'm asking.
Riddick, I don't pay attention.
There's Pitch Black,
I've watched
Chronicles of Riddick, and then one just called Riddick.
I want to say there was that third one. Hold on, I'm getting back to. I don't know why I'm saying I should know this. Yeah, 2000 was Pitch Black, 2004 was Chronicles, and 2013 was Riddick.
Okay, I definitely saw Chronicles.
There's a new one in the works.
Oh, really? Definitely saw Chronicles. I don't think I saw Riddick though.
Yeah, I don't remember.
All right, so David says, not sure if you've covered. I'm not sure if it's one you've covered in the past or not, but if you have covered either of my requests, I will provide a backup. We had not covered either of his requests. First one is Below, which is a pseudo supernatural World War II submarine movie.
Okay.
And The Arrival,
which
is a movie about aliens, not to be confused with Dennis Villeneuve's Arrival.
Yep. Give me a couple minutes to watch both of those, and I'll get right back to you. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's the Charlie Sheen flick. I just got the new release of David Toohey's Below. I really dig the movie. Incredible sound, decent effects for a low budget. But it's not really an effects film. It's an acting film, a tension film, and an amazing that guy cast. Don't look before you watch. Just enjoy everyone that pops up. Don't you eye roll me when you see Charlie Sheen's puss on the cover of The Arrival.
Yeah, well,
it's a really good low-budget alien conspiracy-ish movie that I enjoy a lot. I'm going to watch that again, and I hope that I still like it. All of these movies have great casts. They're well written and acted. Hope you like them. Both are better than Skullduggery, I promise. You almost got a Lee Majors double bill. Maybe next time. I'm always down for a Lee Majors flick at any cost. Maybe. At any cost. No, it's not true. He's got some stinkers.
Yeah.
So those are David's picks of David Toohey's films. So we had not covered either of them. We're going to dig into them now. And I surprisingly actually had never seen Below. I did see The Arrival when it first came out, but I had never seen Below. Were these both new to you?
No, I'd seen Arrival on VHS, but this one I don't think I'd heard of. The Below I hadn't heard of. So half.
So we'll start with that one then. We'll start with Below then.
Sure.
2002. I do have a trailer here, I believe. Yep. Oh, actually, hold on. I had to update the board, so I'm sure all my connections are turned off.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, here we go. Bluetooth. Oh, actually, it still says it's connected. Okay. The one time I actually checked before pushing play is when it happens. Isn't that how it always goes, though? Usually we'll just hit play and I'll be like, oh, nothing works.
Yep, it'll be a Liberty Mutual ad or something. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. No, it hasn't started yet. Now it's got the long green preview has been approved.
We have contact.
Starboard beam, 11 miles out, sir.
Stand by to board survivors. Next man, let's go. Next man. We got 3 survivors, one's a woman.
Try not to fraternize with the men. Some of them get a little strange.
Strange as in superstitious.
Isn't strange.
Best looking bad luck I ever saw.
In the midst of war,
Heading home, boys. Sound good? Yes, sir.
the crew of a U.S. submarine
Hey, you're oversteering. Just getting some resistance, sir.
is about to cross the line.
Accidents happen, right? Maybe someone doesn't want us to make it home.
Maybe we're spending more time watching that broad than watching our backs.
Mr. Bryce, we wanted to ask you about Captain Winters.
What'd you tell her?
The story.
The submarine isn't a good place to keep secrets.
Their senses betray them.
I'm telling you, there's some bad hoodoo on this boat.
Their minds deceive them.
You okay?
Their fear surrounds them.
Just how much longer can we not say what we're all thinking? I don't believe we're alone down here.
Both our periscopes are down. Our sonar is gone. We are blind and nearly deaf.
They were trained to fight the enemy above.
Emergency, dive!
But nothing could prepare them
We're on a runaway boat, fellas.
for the terror below.
This boat is cursed.
I think we should all just take a deep breath.
There's so many ways a guy can die. Loomis?
Did you see that?
Mr. Loomis, where's our crew?
All right. 2002's Below. As we said, directed by David Toohey, who is probably best known. He wrote the story and the screenplay for the Fugitive film with Harrison Ford. Also worked on Pitch Black. He worked on the Riddick films. He did the screenplay for G.I. Jane. So he's really killed it as a writer.
Yeah, he
over
can
the years.
do drama and the nice, I don't want to say cheesy, but like genre stuff. And
Yeah, because
he's got a
he
good
worked on like
handle it.
Critters 2 and like Warlock and like a bunch of
all
that
the stuff that was like formative in the late 80s, early 90s for people. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's all
As a
over it.
director, not quite as prolific. Grand Tour, The Arrival, Pitch Black, Below, Chronicles of Riddick, Perfect Getaway, and the Riddick films. So he doesn't direct as much as he does write and produce.
Right.
So, but either way, worked on a ton of very successful franchises and projects over the years. This film stars Bruce Greenwood, who obviously we know from a number of things. Pike in Star Trek is probably...
He's my favorite version of Pike.
Yeah.
He's good. He's really good in that show.
Yeah, he's been in... I mean, he was in...
I don't remember much else.
Was it the Core? Was that the one where the planet was going to explode or whatever?
Oh, God. So they sent Hilary Swank down there? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But he's also... I mean, he's a guy that's in, like, tons of things. Shows up in different TV shows. He does a lot of voiceover work.
You know what he's good for? He's good for being the president or the vice president. He's got that kind of screen presence. So those are the kind of roles I remember him from.
Yeah, I don't remember him as the president in any movie offhand, though.
No, he's probably like a senator or something that I just can't remember. But he's definitely got on-screen politician vibes.
Right, and he's done the voice of Batman and Bruce Wayne in a number of those animated flicks. Like, I know
that's right.
He did it in like Under the Red Hood, and I think he might have done it in Death of the Family too.
Yeah, he did a pretty decent Batman. Yeah.
But so he's like, if you scroll through his acting stuff, there's tons of stuff. And he's instantly recognizable. So you got David Crowe also, Matthew Davis, Chuck Ellsworth, Crispin Layfield, Holt McCaney, Jonathan Hartman, Dexter Fletcher, Olivia Williams, Scott Foley. These are all names.
Now say the surprising one.
Which one?
Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, I was getting
Yeah.
It's his first film, I think.
I had to think for a second. That pause was literally my brain stopping everything and going, wait, you watched Between Two Ferns, the movie, yesterday. Double check. Yeah, no, wait,
sure?
he was the one with the Cracker Jacks. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was his first film. Hold on, let me scroll.
It could have been. He looks really young. But it might not be because he has his beard at that point. So I don't know. It was interesting. He was sort of like his stage persona, but just a little maritime off, which is, I guess, not a thing that I just made up.
I mean, you could have.
Basically, that means you've been stuck down in the sub too long, and you're going crazy.
Let's see here. It was not his first film because he had a lot of bit parts before this. Like, he was the supporting funny guy in Out Cold. That skiing. Was it skiing?
Fuck, he's
the one they put in the car and then spun the car around on the ice and woke him up and scared the shit out of him.
Yeah. Okay.
He was in Corky Romano, a bit part, Bubble Boy, a bit part, Heartbreakers, a bit part, and then we got Below.
Okay.
So, but he plays this straight. He's just a straight dude in this. He's not
just
stupid comedian or anything like that.
Yeah.
His actual character's name is Weird Wally, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But so we said all those names earlier. You might not recognize those names, but I'm willing to bet when you see them, you will recognize their faces. As David said in his email to us, there's a lot of, oh my God, that guy.
Yep.
Sure.
Hey, it's the doctor from The Fifth Element. There you go.
Right, exactly.
Yep. I actually, for a second, thought he was the guy that played Bane in the second and third Matrix movies. They look similar, but not really. I was
a little
wrong.
bit. Well, Jason Fleming, he's like a best known. He was in like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. And,
I like him.
And like a couple of those. He's a good dude. League of
Wasn't
Extraordinary
he
Gentlemen. He played Dr. Jekyll.
He was the lead singer that got kicked out of the band, right, in Rockstar?
I believe so.
Gay?
Yeah.
That might have been the first thing I remember seeing him in.
It was such a small part too, but it was super memorable.
Oh yeah.
All right, so Below, the story, this is taking place during the Second World War. The crew of a
second of three, apparently.
Yeah, well, the third one's coming soon.
We'll see.
Coming soon, next year. It'll release around Christmas.
Okay.
So fucking dark.
Save up for it.
I know, right? So it's it's a U.S. crew on a U.S. submarine who has received a distress call for some survivors from a ship or a submarine or something else that is sunk. So they turn around to rescue these people. It ends up being 3 people that have survived some sort of attack somewhere, and they bring them aboard. And one of them is a female, played by, as we said earlier, I can never remember, Olivia Williams.
Oh, okay.
She's been she's been in a ton of stuff too. She most recently, most people remember her as the sister in Dune Prophecy. The sister to the Quasi, was it the Jezeret? What the hell's the lead of Dune, the Reverend Mother?
Yeah, the Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserit.
Bene Gesserit, that's what it is. She plays the sister of that, but she's also, I mean, she was in The Sixth Sense and Rushmore and a bunch of other stuff too. So she's super recognizable when you see her, and she's always fun when she shows up. So she is a doctor who was aboard the ship when it was attacked. They say how the ship was a hospital ship. They don't know where they were attacked from, where it came from, or anything like that. But there's 3 of them. One of them is gravely injured. One of them has a bum leg, and she has survived without any major injuries. So immediately, you remember that this is an early 2000s flick, and also like of the mindset of men are weird when women show up,
especially with the superstitions around the ocean.
Correct.
Yeah. Because she drops down, and I'm like, oh shit, there's the conflict.
One of them's a broad. But there's a really kind of funny scene where it spreads through the submarine that there's a woman on board now, and it's kind of like a game of telephone where it changes a little bit every time they tell somebody else, but there's like a whole line of like, there was 3 survivors, one of them's abroad, and they're like, there's 3 survivors, and one of them's Miss America. By the time you get to the end of it, they're like, wait, who's here?
Yeah, but then also you got to consider too that every sailor on that boat was straight,
or at least
I don't
presented.
Think so. Yeah, no, it's just a funny comment because of course they were gay people back then. They just got killed if they said anything.
True. So, they're like, hey, listen, we can't bring you back to London because we're on our way home to the U.S. or whatever, but don't worry, we'll take care of you while you're on the ship. And immediately tensions are raised because there's these people on the ship that they don't know. One of them being a woman, obviously sets off some bells for those guys, but there's also kind of like a lack of information being shared by them, which we learned pretty early on. The reason is because the other 3rd survivor that hasn't spoken yet that's really injured is a German soldier. Who they rescued and made a prisoner of war, and they don't share that information right away, and Bruce Greenwood ends up shooting him because he said he might have picked up a knife and advanced upon him, and Bruce Greenwood is the captain of the lieutenant of the ship, Bryce. He's not the captain. We learn more what happens to the captain afterwards, but he's the acting captain. But so anyway, he shoots this German soldier dead in the submarine, which seemed strange to me.
Well, I mean, he's German, and it's World War II, so you don't know the alignment. I guess if we'll go D&D rules, we don't know the alignment of these other 2 people. They could be German who just speak with a British accent. My issue is she yelled that it was against the Geneva Convention to execute a prisoner, and the Geneva Convention, that part of it, I believe, was written because of shit like that in World War II. So the Geneva Convention initially in the 76 or something like that was to recognize the Red Cross as like not on anybody's team, leave them alone kind of thing. So yeah, if you're going to do a period piece, and I keep telling my kid that because she wants to do stuff in different eras like 1912 and stuff. Yep. And I'm like, you need to know. You cannot have anachronisms because there are assholes like me out there that will hear you say something and my brain will go, that don't sound right. And I'll look it up and I'll tell you you're wrong on a podcast that they don't listen to. But there are people that know that stuff off the top of their head. And those people would probably want to watch a movie based in, the profession they chose. So get it right. But it's shorthand in this for showing who the good people and the bad people are. That's all it is. It's a plot device at this point. I just needed to complain for a second.
Yeah. So one of the other interesting things about this film is that Darren Aronofsky co-wrote the screenplay and was actually supposed to direct it.
That's weird.
Yeah. But when he was helming it, it was just a straight ahead horror film. apparently.
Oh, that's even weirder now.
Yeah, and they made some pretty specific changes apparently when Toohey took over.
Okay.
Because I guess Aronofsky then went and made Requiem for a Dream instead of directing this. So I don't know if he stepped away from it or what exactly happened, but he was originally supposed to, he co-wrote it and then also was supposed to direct it originally and didn't end up doing that. Huh. So interesting knowing where Darren Aronofsky is now. So,
yeah.
So basically, weird stuff starts to happen almost immediately upon this German soldier being shot. We see that Bruce Greenwood as the acting commander is not quite all there. I mean, obviously he goes off the reservoir deep by the end of it, but there's all the superstitions that everyone is having. Everyone is kind of curious about what's going on. There's a lot of kind of unexplainable things like the record player just starting to play music without anyone turning it on.
Yeah, when they need to be running silent. That was good. That's always good in a sub movie for tension.
Yeah, and I will say, I know when David suggested these films, one of the things he called out in it was the incredible sound design in this, and it is. It's absolutely incredible, and the look of it is great too because it was a chunk of it was filmed on an actual World War II submarine.
I could never ever serve on a sub. I'm way too big.
Oh, I'm just too. I couldn't do it. But there's great scenes.
I went with the I'm too big because I didn't want to say that it would probably freak me the fuck out.
Oh, I would be so freaked out. Especially like those scenes. There's so many really good scenes in this of them like being quiet and like when they're being chased down by a German warship and they're dropping depth charges and like you can hear the things hitting the hull and like it's very anxiety inducing for sure. And the way they present it is, I think, very, very good.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did it then feel like a TV movie?
That's a good question.
I don't know about you, but it felt like that to me. Like it was filmed on film, but then transferred to videotape, maybe like a high resolution videotape, but then back to digital. It had that soap opera-y sort of feel, maybe lighting wise.
Maybe a little. What I definitely noticed
is way worse of an offender in it, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The effects of like the submarine and like the like outside of the submarine, like that would like not good. Even for the time period, I can't imagine they were that great.
No, 90s, mid to late 90s CG is just that's the time where it's exercising all of its muscles to be ready for. It's like Spider-Man and Phantom Menace and shit.
Yeah, so this is 2002, so it probably started filming in like 99, 2000. But it looks incredibly dated when you watch it now.
I did like the scenes of them above the water on the whatever bridge conning tower. I don't know what it's called, so I'm not going to pretend I know. But the standy area on top of the submarine, that looked good. That was nice. I like
the deck or whatever
out in the middle of nowhere, and it's isolating. Not a fan of that either.
So as things kind of get more tense, you know, they're being chased by the German boat. There's these weird sounds happening, things that they can't explain. And then things in the ship, in the submarine start to break, like the rudder breaks and they can't steer the ship anymore. They're like, it's just like everything that can start to go wrong goes wrong. And then you start to see a divide in the crew of people that are believing that there's something else going on, whether it be somebody sabotaging them or a supernatural thing or whatever. And then we learn more about the crew. We learn that Bruce Greenwood covered up the fact that the captain had been killed in a story that he told about him trying to they had sunk a sub and they wanted to get keepsakes and stuff to remember it, but he fell into the water and they weren't able to save him, which we then learn is obviously not what happened. So it goes from being like a war movie to, you know, like a haunted house movie to also like, is any of this real? And it does a pretty good job of not mansplaining what's actually going on and lets you kind of figure it out. Or believe what you want to believe. If you want to believe that, there's a supernatural thing going on, you can buy into that. But if you want to say, no, it was just the fact that they were all freaked out. They were in a submarine at the bottom of the ocean and they, you know, thought they heard and thought they saw things, you can look at it that way too.
Right.
And then, I mean, we've seen lots of movies over the years where, like members of crews and that are in isolation, lose their mind and go nuts. The Michael Shannon looking motherfucker. What's that guy's name? Holt McNally. Holt McClaney.
All of the actors in this, and this is going to sound super insulting, and I'm sorry if you're in this movie and you fall into this category, but it felt like with both of these movies that these are their second choices for who they wanted for the roles.
With the exception of Bruce Greenwood, I would say that, yeah. I feel like he fits the role very, very well.
Yeah, but if you had like the only name that came into my head was Tim Robbins for some reason. I don't know why. But back then at that age, like there's other people, but it's like I would imagine if Aronofsky left, other people wouldn't be as enticed even back then.
Well, I don't know. Aronofsky hadn't even directed Requiem for a Dream yet, so he was still a newcomer.
Yeah. That's why I said, I don't know, maybe. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Sometimes.
It's rare, but thankfully people don't call me out on it.
People got too many other things I got to worry about.
Yep. I don't know. It was a good story. It was nice, but it just felt, I don't know if I was in a mood, but it just felt like a cheaper version of something that should be better. I don't know why.
I can see why you'd say that. I don't necessarily agree, but I get it.
But this doesn't mean that I didn't like it or whatever. It just struck me as like the budget was slashed. So
it may have been. It very well may have.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to pay attention to the mood I'm in when I'm watching these to see how it affects things. And yeah, it's possible. I just wasn't. Yeah.
Well, and I think part of it too is it starts off very strong, and then there's kind of this like section in the middle where things are moving along in the story, but they're not moving along at a pace that keeps up with where it kind of started, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it feels like what they're trying to do is give you the sense of what it is really like to be in the sub, where it's hours of monotonous nothing and then 10 minutes of abject terror.
Yeah, like people seeing things and just like losing it.
And even for regular sailors too, like, you get a ping and all of a sudden, it doesn't matter what was going on, you're running around and doing everything you need to do, and then you're just waiting after that for the next thing. That can't be good for people's brains, especially inside a tube in the deep end of the ocean.
I don't know if you've ever been. I don't know if you've ever been to like a sub museum or something. There's the one that's up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The what the heck is the sub that they have up there? It's like landlocked and like stuff. But I
don't know.
The USS something or other. But I remember going up there when I was probably a young teenager, and even as like a 5 foot whatever 10-year-old being like, wow, this is really small. People lived in this for months. Like,
yeah.
Hey, shut up.
Is it the USS Albacore?
Yes, the Albacore.
Okay. Yep.
It's a cool little
research submarine.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it pioneered the shape of the hull. It was one of the first ones.
Yeah. It's a cool little day trip. I will say Portsmouth in general is a cool little day trip. There's a lot of great stuff up in Portsmouth.
Yeah. Not in the winter though.
No. Although it's much less busy in the winter. You can go and walk on anything.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so as it kind of plays itself out, they get heavy on the supernatural, but not so heavy as to be like, this is the only option as to what's going on, which I actually really liked. I don't like to have that stuff slammed down my throat if it can be helped. So like the idea in this that I could make up my mind whether like I could be like, nope, none of it was real. It was all just the claustrophobia and the anxiety that brought, whatever on, or you can buy that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The sub is haunted by the captain that they killed.
Yeah.
But aren't going to do anything
there's
about
a reason for the superstitions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. I think we could probably grade this. I don't want to give away too many of the ins and outs. So, all right. Oops, I definitely. All right, Chris, 2002's Below, do you recommend, and what is your grade?
Yeah, I'll recommend it. It's a decent little tight mystery that you're not even sure is a mystery in the beginning. It could just be a World War II movie. It was really close to overcomplicating the story, and then it just decided it had told all of the plot it needed to, and that was good, because if they tried to make it any more complicated, it wouldn't have worked. So yeah, giving you a little bit here and there, and making sure that you know they're keeping their fence sitting position, I guess, between supernatural and natural. It works. And Captain Pike there, I like him as an actor. He can do serious. This is you don't see him as an antagonist very much, but he can do dark. You said Gerald's Game, right? When we were talking about him earlier?
I did not mention it, but yeah, he was in that.
Okay. All right. Because yeah, he's kind of a villain in that. And he can be scary.
Which X-Men movie was he in? He was in one of the X-Men movies too, wasn't he?
I
think that's where he played like a senator or like a president or something, was in one of the X-Men movies.
Huh. No, it says
okay.
No, well, not right here yet. Although the resident Fallout Usher.
Maybe I'm misremembering it. I thought
maybe
he was like,
there is another guy. There's the guy in the first one that turned into a water dude.
That's who I'm thinking of, I think.
Yeah, I know what he looks like, but I can't remember his name.
Either way, finish. Don't worry about it. It's not important.
Okay.
It's not Bruce Green. It's not Bruce Greenberg, so we don't have to worry about it.
Bruce Davison. That's it.
They're both named Bruce, so I guess that.
Yes, that's why we got him. I had to know. I absolutely had to know. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, so yeah, I'll recommend it. It's pretty good, regardless of my complaints. I did enjoy it, and it kept me interested. This one I don't think I felt was too long, but you are right about the pacing in the middle, where like they're basically doing the mystery part at that point, and it's nothing else really kind of goes on at that point. So it's like fast song, and then 40 slow songs. Yeah. But it's a mystery, so that's how that works. I'll give it a B+.
B+, okay, that's pretty high.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I'm pointing out the things that were annoying my mood at the time.
Right. I mean, I'm going to recommend it also. I enjoyed it. And I think it does what it's supposed to do. And the only complaint I have is that it does slow down a little bit too much in the middle. I thought the sound design was great. The acting is really, really good across the board. The setting is perfect for what they're doing. I thought the lighting, was limited, which it should be in a film that takes place in a submarine. The only other complaint I would have would have been that some of the CG in it, I can't even say that it aged poorly. I think it wasn't good to start.
Yeah. CG that's aged poorly is like the Stampede in Jumanji. It looks awful when you watch it now. Yeah. But Jurassic Park that came out, I believe, the same year, top notch. But it was, I think what was going on, maybe one of the things is the studios are seeing, all right, how little can we pay and have people still accept this as a special effect?
Yeah, I think some of it too
feels like it.
They get so deep into a production and like all they have left to do is the digital effects. So that's why they're like, well, we spent too much on the rest of the production. So
yeah,
here's a hamburger and a stack of dimes.
Right, and we can't go back and reshoot all these scenes with the liquid, so you're gonna have to do that.
Right. So I'm gonna give it
1999.
Right, I'm gonna give it a B, a little bit lower than you. I enjoyed it though. I'm glad I watched it. I think it was a good recommendation, and I think it's definitely worth watching. It's not gonna blow you away, but you're not gonna be mad at the end of the hour and 50 minutes or however long it was.
Yeah, it's not Das Boot.
Nope.
So,
far more exciting than Das Boot.
And I think shorter.
Yes, Das Boot's like 3 days long.
I was going to say, yeah, at least.
Speaking of 3 days long, no, that's not a really good transition there. Next up, David's other pick of The Arrival, 1996. Here is a trailer.
Station 5.
Is my voice even vaguely familiar to you, Zane? I really don't want to repeat of last week.
Look, if I say I'm gonna be there, I will be there. End of story. There is nothing more important to me right now than
Searching for ETs in this political environment is a tough sell.
I come to you with the possibility of extrasolar life. I can't afford it. They're acting like it never happened. It's like we never gave him any tape. The first signal's definitely sky-based, but this one is Earth-based. Something's going on here, Shaw. What is it that they're trying to hide?
It's a troubled young man.
Why are you telling them lies about me? I want my tape back. I want it back.
They've branded his theory paranoid.
There are some DOD guys here going through our stuff.
I don't know who these guys are, but I do know that they're lying to you.
And the only ones who believe what's coming
If they're not here now, they will be soon.
Who, Zane?
are the ones who've already arrived.
Right now, as much as you think you know, you don't know the half of it.
Why did they leave?
They didn't.
How do you know?
Because we aren't dead yet.
Stop watching the skies.
I know why they're here.
Start watching and look back. Charlie Sheen, Ron Silver, The Arrival.
Okay. The Arrival.
Mm-hmm.
So Charlie Sheen obviously is a guy that, has done a lot, and he's had a lot of different things going on.
You didn't finish that sentence. Of drugs.
Yes. Most of, if not all of them.
That's why I don't get to do any, because he used all mine.
But he's had these different, he's had 3 different careers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at his filmography, hold on, let me just scroll down here so I can look at just the stuff that he's been an actor in. Get rid of the writer credits, get rid of the producer credits, and just the actors. Okay. So early in his career, Badlands, Red Dawn, Silence of the Heart,
Yep,
Boys Next Door, Lucas, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Wraith.
Wraith. Oh man, yeah.
We covered that on the show at some point, didn't we?
Not me.
No? Okay.
Nope.
And Platoon. That's kind of the early.
Yeah, he was Brat Pack level.
He was never really part of the Brat Pack because he wasn't in the movies with the others, but he was adjacent to it. But I would say going up through Wall Street, Young Guns, and Major League. And I guess Navy SEALs and Men at Work were pretty good. He early in his career, and I say early, but we're talking 30 movies deep. The dude was on fire. He was certified leading man, certified box office success. He was in The Rookie with Clint Eastwood, and then he did Hot Shots and Loaded Weapon. Well, actually,
Major
Loaded Weapon,
League.
he wasn't a lead in Loaded Weapon. Emilio Estevez was, but
right.
But then somewhere around
he was in 2 of them.
Yeah, then somewhere around 1993, 94, he had kind of a fall off, and he did the stuff like The Chase and Terminal Velocity, and I think The Arrival kind of falls in this area too, where
paying the bills movies.
Yeah, where he was still successful, but he wasn't that like high level of success. And then I think he has this crazy fall off where like he was in like stuff like Shadow Conspiracy, Loose Women, Money Talks, No Code of Conduct. And then like 1998, he shows up in that Bret Michaels film we did, A Letter from Death Row. Like there's definitely a point where like he's doing these like little bit parts as opposed to the lead parts. And then he kind of went away for a while where he did, and then he came back, he took over for Michael J. Fox on Spin City, which was a really good run for him. That was kind of like his reintroduction back into mainstream. And then like, he was in a couple of the Scary Movies and he would show up on like,
right around there, right around the Scary Movies is where it felt like he changed, like his attention was focused like mid-ground, not on the people talking. In the Scary Movies, I didn't feel like he was fully there. But the other one before that, what was before the Scary Movie one?
Spin City.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be on point for that. And
he was great on Spin City. He was great.
Yeah. So around Scary Movie, it sort of looks like he not gives up, but something happened.
Well, he was in Scary Movie 4 in 2006 and then didn't really have like anything of major stuff until he gets the gig on 2.5 Men, which was 2003.
Oh, that was 3. Okay.
Yeah. So like he has a few things in there. Like he did the voice. He did a voice on Family Guy. He did the voice of like himself.
Okay.
On Family Guy. And like he was on one episode of Big Bang Theory where like he played himself.
Right.
And like stuff like that. But then he came back and did 2.5 Men and was again huge. And then fucked that up.
Yep. And then
again,
Robert Downey Jr. said, okay, I'm going to take this role as Tony Stark and I know what not to do.
Correct. So he gets himself fired from 3.5 Men or 2.5 Men or whatever it is. Gone for a couple of years, comes back, stars in Anger Management, which is the TV version of the film. And people are like, oh shit, Charlie Sheen's back. And then upon the end of that, he really just like, that's when the winning. And because I've got tiger's blood and I have 3 girlfriends that I'm married to, and like has never really recovered, I don't feel, since then.
No, it almost feels like he did LSD and it rewired something. And you know how like you can suffer a head trauma and have a different personality after?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. I never looked into it, but
I'm convinced there's a Charlie Sheen, I don't know if it was a Charlie Sheen documentary or like one of those like Dark Side of the 90s or one of those like shows where they did an episode on him. And like it kind of goes through like the whole thing, and like he's the dude is peaks and valleys because he's obviously like, I mean, there's no question that how talented he is, but he just can't keep his shit together for an extended amount of time.
Yeah, so you can't even guarantee that talent's going to come through when you need it.
Right. Which is why he ended up getting fired from like most of the like the big gigs that he was doing.
Yeah.
And he was just like, he became, he was one of the first real like memeable like things that the internet totally ate into. But anyway, so The Arrival, I feel like, is one of those films in the Charlie Sheen filmography that is kind of just like partially a paycheck, but also he's the lead in it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the type of thing where like he's definitely still somebody, and he's a bankable star, but he's not quite the bankable star that maybe they wanted for this film, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of physicality. There really isn't even, there aren't even any like love scenes for him, are there? There's women that he talks to, but there's nothing really
specifically Terry Polio from Meet the Parents.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It's an interesting...
Exactly.
It's an interesting piece because looking at David Toohey's filmography we talked about earlier, this is his second feature film. The first one that was really like a big time film. He did Grand Tour, Disaster in Time, which was also known under the title Timescape. They have like Jeff Danielson and a couple other people in it. I don't remember seeing that. I may have, but this was like his first like studio picture, and it's a Miramax picture. So at the time, like we know that like it had some money behind it and should have gone somewhere. But it's just a very weird watch because the rest of the cast in it, Lindsay Krause, Richard Schiff, Ron Silver, and Ron Silver's been in a bunch of things. Obviously, he was in Time Cop and other stuff. But like everyone, everyone in this film is locked in, except for Charlie Sheen. He doesn't feel like he's connected to the film the way the other characters are. Am I crazy, or did it like?
It's the difference between like, I don't know. It could go either way. If you take Batman, right, like 66 and 89, and you swap the Batman for each of them. I'm not sure which one is how did everybody in this understand that it was cheese except for Sheen?
Maybe?
Or were they trying to make a smart They Live style alien movie and he's the only one that got it? Like, I don't know.
That's a really good question. I'm not sure myself.
Right. It goes both ways because there are times where like you can visibly see the actors like sigh before they start talking because they're like, I got to do this scene again. Okay, listen, Zane. Now here's my first big problem with this.
Zane Zeminski is a name. Is that where you're going?
Well, no, I'm going with this guy looks like this, talks like that, but does what for a job? I don't see it. I don't see somebody like Charlie Sheen's character there. Zane, the astro fucker, whatever. I don't even care. It was a made-up title that he probably had.
Yeah. He was searching for radio signals of alien life.
Yeah, he's basically working off a SETI-style grant from the government.
Yeah.
And I don't think that party people make it to those levels of jobs at that age. Like I said to my wife after she groaned about the fact that it was a Miramax picture and Fuckface's name was going to pop up.
Yeah, I know. I try so hardly to not let that bother me.
Yeah.
But he's
not getting any of the money. So
and his name was on everything back then. So it's not you can't even like be like, I'm going to boycott everything that Harvey Weinstein worked on because you just can't, because it's not fair to everybody else that worked on those movies.
Yeah, yeah. So I said, this is like, I don't know, feels like a video, like we're watching a video, because this looks like Charlie Sheen looks like Guy Fieri on a planet that never invented bleach.
Yeah, but if they put a pair of glasses on him,
then he's smart, right? Because stupid people don't wear glasses, right?
Correct. So the whole story is basically Charlie plays this astrophysicist SETI guy that's scanning the skies at night with another guy to try to receive some sort of radio signal or any type of proof of extraterrestrial life. So he's got his girlfriend played by Terry Polo who Meet the Parents is what she's best known for, and like Little Fockers and stuff like that. And she's like, basically, you work too much. We never see each other, blah, 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 blah. And then he gets a signal that they've never heard before. And they like try to figure out what it is. And they're like, that's not, we haven't heard this before. This is an actual radio signal that's coming in.
Yep.
So they record it and they bring it to the powers that be. And they're basically like, well, no, probably you're wrong. There's lots of interference, blah, 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 blah. But they're like, no, we have it on tape and we have the proof.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the most like Trump America move ever, immediately Zane Zeminski is dismissed from his position.
Yeah.
And we learned that Gordon or Gordian or whatever his name was is the guy that's in charge, and he buries the tape, destroys the tape, and makes sure that nobody knows that it ever happened. They send quote unquote Secret Service people to get all the information. They fire hit this guy from his job and are just like burying it. And so right away, there's some sort of conspiracy thing going on.
Yeah. And I really wish they hid that for a while. Because if you watch the trailer, the first thing you're going to think when he snaps the tape is, oh yeah, he's the alien. They're all aliens.
Yeah.
And they were, and that's a little disappointing. It was like
it was lazy writing.
Like Secret Wars, but it was like the Hydra invasion in that Captain America movie where some of them were Hydra. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So now he's going upon himself. He's got a job basically doing satellite TV, and he hijacks everyone's satellite signals to try to find the source again. And yeah, I mean, for whatever reason, this guy lost his job, but he seems to have unlimited money to just like jet off to wherever he needs to jet off to, build whatever he needs to build, and just like figure out what's really going on without actually any type of consequences. Hi, Bark. So yeah, it's a weird film. I don't mean weird like surreal or anything like that. It's got a really just weird tone to it, and I think a lot of that comes from Charlie Sheen not knowing what he's doing in this movie.
Yeah, like Blade in Blade 2.
Yeah,
Wesley Snipes.
Actually, really, really good at comparison. Actually,
yeah. I'll tell the story again because it pisses me off. So in Blade 2, you have the Reavers. I can't remember
the Daryl Reevases.
And yeah, they have a different way to feed. They're an evolved form of the vampire, blah, blah, blah. So the bottom jaw splits open, predator style. It can latch back together. I don't care how. But Wesley Snipes is talking about Blade, what he's doing in this scene when he's in a sewer, obviously, because like that's 90% of Blade movies, right? And he finds a pile of bones and stuff, and he finds dentures, lower set of dentures, and he's like, I don't know why Guillermo told me to pick that up and look at it, but I did. And I'm like, it's because there's fucking Reapers around, you idiot. Like, that's the movie. Were you not there? Did you open your eyes this time, fucker? Like, I don't know how you can do something and not be that invested in it when it's you on the screen, like doing the stuff. But that's me. My brain, I know, works different, and I need to know as much about something as I can, just because. So I don't know, but this is the same kind of thing where it's like, if anybody had any idea about any kind of like SETI kind of stuff, they wouldn't have been searching for shit in the FM band, because the FM radio signals bounce off our atmosphere, and that's why we use it on Earth, because it kind of is trapped inside the planet, like the atmosphere. So if that tower that shoots up out of the ground that he looked terrified at, like, it is a tower. It's an alien. You're dealing with aliens.
Yeah.
Like, come on. It would have just bounced around in the atmosphere. It never would have got to the planet. Like,
well, and also it's all like the science of it is all very unclear, because there's a point where he's like, oh, we're communicating back and forth, but we don't ever really know where they're communicating or like any of that stuff. And it's also really frustrating watching it because like the aliens are already here, and like they've built that giant underground plant or whatever in Mexico, and nobody seemed to notice.
You mean the new nation underground?
Right. Yeah. That goes down like really, really far. Like,
yeah.
and nobody, and like the entire, and like, are we supposed to believe like that the entire like government is taken over? Like, because they don't explain anything.
Right.
So
they at least in They Live, they give you the scene with Buck in a tuxedo, and you're like, oh shit, they're really dug in.
And they've been here. You know that they've been here for a long time. This one, you're not really sure how long they've been here, because there's no like history of the signal being found or like anything to give you any idea that it's a plan that's been going on for many, many years, which obviously has been, because they have this whole network of like underground things and stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
They never commit. Like, the film doesn't commit itself to anything. And it's just like they've built this whole thing. And I guess minor spoiler alert for the end of the movie here. But I'm going to say it, like, Charlie Sheen and his girlfriend are the only ones that know what's going on. And he's going to threaten their entire existence by showing it on TV or whatever. Like they wouldn't just get rid of him.
Yeah, at any second.
At any point.
They have advanced technology, which doesn't obviously obey the laws of physics, but that's a whole different thing. But yeah, sure. Why not? Just threaten a whole other planet or system of planets. Who knows?
Yeah, it's
I don't understand how this alien race evolved to this point.
Yeah, the script is the problem is the script with this movie. Well, I think the idea is interesting, but it's just so wonky in the way that it's presented and the way that everyone kind of communicates with each other. And like, it's just, and there's no rhyme or reason for really anything. Like, it starts like that opening scene where they start off up in like the North Pole or whatever it is. And there's this random poppy seed field in the middle of all the snow. And they're like, this shouldn't be here. And like, it didn't really play into like, I mean, they brought it back later on, but like, it didn't really play into anything in the film.
Right. And it doesn't make sense because it's like one spot.
Right.
Like in the snow, in the tundra area is green and flowering. Why? Why that spot all the way up there? Why not something along the edge of the ice or a little bit further in? But it's 1996. They didn't know much about global warming.
Well, yeah, at that time period, everything was about the fear of the hole in the ozone. And I think that's really what, because there's a number of times where they talk about the temperatures are going up and like, you know, so the hole in the ozone, but like, the idea that a hole in the ozone is going to make a flowery field in Antarctica in one specific spot because that's right below the hole. That's not how that works. Like,
no, it's not a magnifying glass.
Right. It's not like a greenhouse cover or something specific.
I thought initially they were going to show that like a meteorite chunk or something had put stuff there. And that's why, because it could be hardy in cold weather or something. And then they just, but also the signal, what the fuck was the point of the signal except to get the story moving? What did it say?
Yeah, they never even really, they know, all he knows is there's communication going back and forth.
Probably like 6 cheese and 5 pepperoni.
Oh man, I could go for a pepperoni.
Meaningless, right? But it's not
meaningless. Pizza's important.
Well, I was going to say, it's not the meaning of the message. It's more the fact that there is an intelligent message. I'm getting off point there. So
that's fair. All right. I still think we can get much more. To be honest with you.
That's fair.
All right, Chris, final thoughts. What do you recommend and what is your grade for The Arrival?
I feel like if I recommend this, I will ruin any goodwill I have with whoever is left that listens to me. So I am not going to recommend it. I am going to say it is fun to watch. And I used to tell people that the worst designed monster/alien I'd ever seen was in Cloverfield, because I don't understand how something that delicate could live that far under the ocean or in space. But that's not what's going on here. What's going on here is that these aliens have backwards bent legs. They're not digitigrade. I can't say that word. It's one of the, everybody has a couple words they can't say.
Yep.
How dogs' legs are bent backwards. That's a word I can't say.
That's right.
These guys, their knees would snap backwards and then they would have flat feet, right? They wouldn't go up on their toes, but they could have flat feet. So they ran like fucking chicken walker toys from Empire Strikes Back. They were the dumbest looking thing. And they have flaps on the back of their head that cover their brains. That's what I meant when I was saying I don't understand how a race could evolve to be a superior species capable of interstellar travel, and yet you could walk up behind them with a ping pong paddle and kill them.
Mm.
The exposed brain thing I'll call this a J.J. Abrams exception, where it looks cool, flies in the face of, does this work with the story?
Right. Yeah.
It's a C-. I mean, Charlie Sheen is ridiculous looking in this with his goatee and glasses and spiky hair. He is very, very toy collector from Toy Story 2 looking in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. C-. Don't recommend, but if you watch it, you're probably gonna have a good laugh.
Yeah. I'm gonna recommend it. It's a tepid recommend at best. But I think it's a nice kind of little piece of mid-90s filmmaking. It really you want to see a movie that's 1996? Watch The Arrival.
Yeah.
Ideas that go nowhere, creative decisions that don't make any sense, a stilted script that people are barely able to fumble their way through. And again, like I said, almost everybody else in the film does a really commendable job except for Charlie Sheen. He just doesn't, I don't think he knows why he's there.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what his character is supposed to be.
Yep.
But with that said, it's also mildly entertaining.
Yeah,
so I'm going to give it a C+ with a kind of specific recommend of you like weird shit that just from the 90s that you're just kind of like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is that movie.
There were definitely some interesting ideas in there, but they just, not fleshed out to be enjoyable.
Great. So, David, thank you very much for sending us these two films. I think they'd made two interesting reviews for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And they're definitely not films that I was mad that I watched.
Right.
So.
Right.
Now, okay, so I think Joe sent me two segments back to back last week. So let me play the second one, and hopefully it's not one we've already played.
Okay.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris, and hello, OTC Nation. Your boy Joe here, and this week Bill made me watch Carnosaur 4. I'm sorry. Okay. No, he didn't. He made me watch Raptor, which is Carnosaur 4. Fellas, guys, boys, I can't fucking believe what I just watched. Usually when I'm watching a movie...
Did we do this one
I'll
already?
talk about something only tangentially related to the movie.
Let me see.
Did we do this one already?
I can't tell yet.
All right, let's keep playing it.
I don't think so.
Up top here in the beginning, either to raise an interesting point or tell a funny story or just attempt to garner some laughter. But not today. Not today.
Not today.
Bear with me while I vent my gallbladder. Wait, I haven't had one of those in the better part of a decade.
Yep, we heard this before.
Which is about as long as it's been since I've sat here so incredulous and...
I thought so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about the beginning. Yeah.
Let me text him right now.
Okay.
Texting him right now.
That's funny.
Because I know he has one more Carnosaur movie to go, right? There's a fifth one, correct?
You're asking the wrong person there.
All right. Hey, Siri.
But I'll be the right person in a second.
Is there a Carnosaur 5 movie?
Do you want me to use ChatGPT to answer that?
Sure.
Use the internet.
I don't know. She's doing something.
Yes,
Carnosaur
there is a
3?
TV movie titled Connoisseur, 2017, which follows a con artist entangled in organized crime while evading the FBI. Additionally, 1951 is a post-apocalyptic film about 5 survivors after a nuclear disaster.
What?
If you were referring to a different film, please provide more details.
I got it here. There's 2 spin-offs, Raptor and The Eden Formula.
The Eden Formula's got to be the one we're looking for then.
That's 2006 with Jeff Fahey and Dee Wallace and Tony Todd. Huh.
Tony Todd. Rest in peace.
Maybe that's the movie.
He says that he sent 2
him.
last week. Did I play the wrong one? What is that beeping sound?
I don't know. I don't know anything anymore.
He's not sure either.
No.
He's not sure. Oh, shit. Well, we'll figure it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I can't get to play. So, well, either way, Joe's next series is going to be the Poison Ivy series.
Oh.
Switching it up on him because we usually have him do mostly horror stuff, but Poison Ivy being a thriller/drama are films that you and I probably remember pretty well because every horny teenager on the planet came in and rented them from Blockbuster when we were there. The first one had Drew Barrymore. Second one had Alyssa Milano. Third one had Jamie Presley. And then there's a fourth one that came out like a number of years later, but I don't remember who was in that one. But so sorry for screwing that up. I don't know what's going on with the friggin' iPad here. Let's hope it doesn't screw up Scott's segment, because Scott will be very angry.
Oh, he'll be in the car on the way here, and he wouldn't even have heard the show yet.
We are starting to get through Patreon requests for our most favorite listeners. No offense, if you're a Patreon member, you are one of our favorites.
Yeah.
Aw, I'm your favorite.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
Like, I would love to have a dog named Ricky.
Okay.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott. And here we are in another segment of Holy Shit. And even though sometimes I get the feeling that you don't want to hear it, I know deep down that you really do.
I thought I did, but you're right. I don't.
And we've now made it to the point in the year where Stephen King looks at his bank account, then calls his Hollywood exec buddies, asking them to adapt one of his stories again. And his Hollywood buddies are like, a story adaptation? What about Stephen King? And Stephen King is like,
could you do one?
Right.
I don't care what it's about. Could you do one?
Yeah.
So our very own Bill Fulkerson stepped up, and Stephen King was like, are you a good filmmaker? And Bill was like,
oh, I'm not a very good filmmaker.
So then a writer-director named Osgood Perkins stepped up and said, hey, I did Longlegs. How about I adapt your story, The Monkey, and I will call it The Monkey. And Stephen King was like,
yeah, not the best idea, but an idea.
And thus, the Neon distributed film, The Monkey, was born. And if you don't remember, Neon is the distributor that pushed Longlegs, all one word, into my life. So I'm always on high alert for their offerings in the theater. The funny thing is when I went to go see The Monkey, I had not seen any trailers, teasers, reviews, posters, tweets, Rotten Tomatoes scores, sketches on a napkin, nothing. I didn't even know it was based on the Stephen King story, although I had my suspicions. I just knew the name, The Monkey. A truly rare occurrence nowadays to be able to go into something completely blind-ish. So what did I find out?
The story is pretty simple.
It actually is.
It's about teenage boys named Hal and Bill and their mother Lois, who's raising them alone. Lois is played by She-Hulk herself, Tatiana Maslany, something like that, who does a wonderful job in this movie, by the way. She's very likable, she's funny, they do some dancing, she's kind of fun to see in the show, and she's delightfully sarcastic. Anywho, Hal is kind of the introverted nerd brother, and Bill is the extroverted asshole brother.
Insufferable.
Yeah.
Little fucking turd the whole time.
It must just be a Bill thing. Their father is a pilot, and he isn't home very much. He's barely in the movie at all, but he likes to bring home trinkets from all over the world during his travels. But one day, he just stops coming home completely. Giving up on ever seeing him again, the boys decide to raid Dad's closet for treasures. And one such treasure is a large box containing a wind-up monkey in a red vest with a drum and some drumsticks. And all it took was turning that key one time to begin a lifetime of bloody, gory chaos. The monkey's mouth slowly smiles, showing its oddly human-looking teeth, and starts playing a creepy circus song as it bangs on its drum. And then, as it spins the drumstick, it makes its final beat of the drum. And that's when you know the decision has been made. Not your decision. Whatever the monkey decides, it is the only one that decides who will live and who will die. Starting with the boy's babysitter. While at dinner at one of those Benihana-style Japanese restaurants where they cook at your table, the babysitter is promptly decapitated by the cook on accident. and her head slowly slides off her neck right onto the grill, face first.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, and she's one of the lucky ones, by the way, at least in comparison. It doesn't really take Hal long to get fed up with this monkey, and he decides it's gotta die. So he pulls out a giant butcher's cleaver and he starts chopping the thing up, and to his surprise, he finds that the limbs of the monkey are bloody after he chops them. But nonetheless, he kills that motherfucker and the credits roll. The movie's over.
Yay!
Just kidding. He finds it waiting for him in his room later that day, completely intact. A sequence of bullying at school and lots of severe, hyper-bloody deaths leads to Hal and Bill chaining up the monkey's box and tossing it into a deep well. Despite thinking the monkey is probably gone for good and maybe the deaths are going to stop, the brothers still eventually become estranged for almost 10 years. During that time, Hal has fathered a son named Petey, and he has purposefully kept himself separate from Petey. His son's mom is remarried, and Hal only really sees his son once a year. He does this on purpose, scared that he may somehow get his son hurt due to his involvement with the monkey. Peter's mom and stepdad inform Hal that they want to try and take his parental rights away completely and adopt Petey. So this may be Hal's final week to even see his own son.
Thought we had like a cool relationship, and I'm now never going to speak to you again.
Right.
Petey's stepdad is Elijah Wood, by the way, a rich self-help guru grifter calling himself a prophet. He's delightfully scummy in this. So Hal doesn't want to lose his son completely, especially not to that fucking asshole, but he's also not going to miss out on the opportunity to spend some extra time with his son. So the two of them leave, and that's when things start to go downhill fast. They decide to stay at a hotel so they can go to some sort of horror convention thing that he knows Petey would like to do. And that's when he's outside having a smoke, and an air conditioner falls from the roof into the water near the pool, electrifying the water. And Hal watches helplessly as a woman dives into the water and fucking explodes into a giant mist of blood and body parts. You know in the back of your mind that that can't really happen?
So it gives this very bizarre, strange feel as you're watching it.
Yep.
But this is a movie about a supernatural killer monkey, so what you gonna do?
Nothing.
Anyway, shortly after, Hal gets a call from his twin Bill and finds out his aunt has died horribly back at his hometown. Something about her head being on fire as she ran into a big wooden for sale sign, impaling herself in the face.
Their foreheads are fucked up, bro.
Hal realizes that somebody must be turning the key on that fucking monkey again, so he travels back to his hometown to investigate. He reluctantly takes Petey, who's always been searching for more information about his father. He doesn't even know that his dad has a twin brother until he finds out by accident. So Petey convinces Hal that they should stay together, and off to the old hometown they travel. It might not be the horror theme park they had originally planned to go to, but at least it's something.
We're going to go on a little adventure in a place we sort of kind of know.
Yep.
What Hal finds out is that not only is his brother Bill becoming obsessed with this monkey, but the whole town has almost fucking gone nuts. People are dying every day, sometimes upwards of 4 or 5 people in just horrible, gruesome ways. Yet there's whole cheer squads outside screaming in joy when they bring out the remains of a dead body on a stretcher.
Which is bizarre, but
yeah.
Also at the same time, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I was going to say bizarre, but not
bizarre, but fine. I'm okay.
Yeah. I won't go into too much detail on who's turning the key and why exactly.
Why is he doing that?
That's up for debate.
But know this, things get pretty fucking wacky. Every death we see is over the top, bloody, gory, and often a Rube Goldberg set of events, much like in the later Final Destination films. Thankfully, the film's tone itself is more self-aware and funny on purpose. There's even the director and writer himself playing a part as a fucking scumbag in this movie, and it's pretty fucking funny. And the dialogue and ways people die are more like the film Dead Alive or Happy Death Day or something. As disgusting and chunky as the movie is, I consider it a comedy first. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it thrives because of that. Every death scene is creative and memorable, and it usually made everyone in the audience laugh.
It is going to sound stupid, but hold on.
I was impressed how fun this movie was, to be honest. I highly recommend you go see The Monkey if you like gory, goofy comedy, and I give The Monkey an A-. Oh, and yeah, I listened to your reviews of Violence Voyager and Vortilac last week. I always love hearing about something out of the ordinary like Violence Voyager, even if it's fucking weird. It's creative and it's original.
I don't know. That's the impression I got.
Yeah. I think.
Oh, okay.
I'll get on board with that.
And I checked out that puppet in Vortilac. It's proper creepy and kind of fucking cool. Although I didn't feel like it was appropriate for Bill to talk to the puppet like he did.
Let's go somewhere and like have sex. No one will see us and it's fine. And you should do it because I want you to do it.
Oof. Anyway, I give you a review of Violence Voyager and Vortilac, both B+. Wow, nice work. Very consistent. Too bad I can't give you all the credit because you didn't even pick out those movies yourself.
How dare you?
So until the next wind-up monkey murder, peace and love, guys. Outside the cinema, watch them live on Twitch.
A lot of white goo being shot around. I'm going to assume that in post I took care of everything.
Yes.
And that everything was good. And none of you know any different. Next week, we got more Patreon picks next week. I haven't decided which ones we're doing yet, but I've got a bunch from you guys. So thank you very much for sending them in. There was apparently a couple that I missed from late last year that I'm working in now too. So thank you guys for supporting the show. As always, if you're not a supporter and you would like to, go to patreon.com/outsidethecinema. You can join up for $5. You can join up for whatever you want. $5 a month or more gets you Patreon picks to choose for the show, top 6 recommendations, any particular like something you want us to talk about or feature, we can do that. Just all you got to do is ask and pay us.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with a couple of those next week. If you want to keep up with Chris and I, you can follow us on Instagram at OTCBill and at Cthulhu. I think I'm going to start a Blue Sky account at some point soon because apparently I don't feel like I can post anywhere anymore, but I still feel like I want to. So
right. Yeah. I have a Blue Sky one. I just haven't used it yet.
I haven't signed up for it yet. It's open to the public now, right? You don't have to have like an invite anymore, right?
Oh, I didn't have an invite, no.
All right, yeah, then it's good. So there you go, guys. We'll keep you abreast of the situation. Have a good week, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah.